Hi, everybody. It's Josh with Talk About Trek, and we are back today to do what we love to do best here on this channel: talk about a Star Trek book. And not just any Star Trek book, a Star Trek The Next Generation book. One of my very favorite things to read. This week found us diving into Diane Carey's novelization of Descent. And as you can see, I've chosen to display the art cover because there are a lot of words here on the bottom of the actual cover. So let's read what we have here. There's a book in itself here. The novelization of the searing sixth season cliffhanger and its exciting conclusion, Star Trek The Next Generation Descent, a novel by Diane Carey, based on Descent Part 1, story by Jerry Taylor, teleplay by Ronald D. Moore, and based on Descent Part 2, written by Renee Echevarria. I hope I said that right. And I think that there's chocolate on the back of my book as well. So we were having s'mores the other night. So, all right, Descent. It's a good novelization. I mean, that's basically the best thing you can say about it. It doesn't go away from the story, of course. It adds a little bit to it, and I don't know if she had seen the episodes and then wrote the novelization, or had, gotten the notes and gotten the story and then written it as well. But I mean, all the high points are hit. But then there's also some additional bits added as well to kind of make the Borg even more, sinister than they appeared in those two episodes, even though they were pretty bad. Unfortunately, no help from the great Book About Books this time. All they have to say is published October 93, 278 pages, an adaptation of TNG's two-part Season 6 cliffhanger and Season 7 opener. So, let's jump right into the back. Oh, this is exciting. Captain Picard and his crew face their most deadly challenge yet. Star Trek The Next Generation, Descent. The Borg are back and nastier than ever. No longer mindless inhuman drones, but cyborg soldiers on a mission to assimilate all intelligent life. Their new goal is the complete destruction of the Federation, and in the midst of facing the Borg again, Captain Picard learns that he may be the cause of the change. Commander Data is changing as well. For the first time in his life, Data feels a genuine emotion, and that emotion is deadly, destructive rage. When it is revealed that the Borg are commanded by an old enemy out of Data's past, Data must choose between his allegiance to the Federation and one thing he wants above all else: bonus special episode photos. Now, that's not what Data wants, but that's what's included in the book here. Special episode photos, as you can see, or can't see. So, I guess before we get started, let's have a look at the episode photos, because I think they're actually like promo shots, right? Because here, look, they're all looking directly at you, pointing directly at you. And then here at the back of the book, you have Data kind of posing with Hawking, Einstein, and Newton there for their card game that they had. So, and there you can just kind of see Data and Troy there with the Borg. So, those are the bonus special episode photos that you get there. So again, it is a very good novelization. Diane Carey knows how to write these characters. I mean, nobody's saying that she doesn't. That goes without saying. She does a fantastic job. The characterization's on point for everybody. The inside looks, I guess, that you get are very good as well too. That's really why someone goes and reads a novelization in the first place, because you know the story already. But by reading the novelization, you're getting the look behind. You're getting the look through the character's eyes. You're getting the character's thoughts. You're getting another viewpoint into something that you already found interesting and fun. So that's why you do this. So, and one of the fun things about reading a novelization like this is that you can watch right along. And I was able to watch along on my very warped sounding VHS, but there's some kind of nostalgia to that, to the old kind of whoop 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 going on as you're watching it. So I kind of enjoyed that, and In case you were interested, Descent Part 1 does take place on Stardate 46982.1. And from the back here, they've got some interesting art. That's Season 1 Riker there. You can see lore, also I think from Season 1, and Season 1 Picard. But anyway, that's fun to do too, because you get to watch, and then you get to read, you get to see the scene play out, then you get to read the scene and see what the characters were thinking. You get to see the scene that you didn't see that was going on while the scene that you were watching was going on. So that's the other thing that's cool too. You get these other little scenes that were kind of added in that happened off screen, because they couldn't fit it all into the 2-part episode, right? There had to be more. So lots of stuff like that was added in. And just, again, a well done novelization by an author who knows what she's doing and tells the story well. So if you like the episode Descent, this will give you a little bit more of a descent into that episode, I guess we will go into the normal talk about the story, even though it seems a little bit weird because we all know the story, right? But it's still a fun story to tell. So let's tell it. Distress call. The Enterprise is called to Oniaka 3. In the book, they add an additional star trip in a starship on a star trip that actually gets massacred. I think another 300 or some lives lost at the hands of these Borg. And then they get to the scene that we all know from the episode in Oniaka 3, where they beam down and everybody's been killed. And then they enter into battle with the Borg. And then during the battle, Data goes crazy, right? And in the book, you get a little bit more look into the hecticness of that. Kind of Riker thinking that this is his last moments, he's going down. His reaction, his thoughts to seeing Data do all that, what he did. And basically what Data does is he's getting attacked by a Borg, and he grabs him by the throat and repeatedly says, "Stop it, stop it, stop it," as he strangles him and kills him. And in this, I think, kind of bashes him into the wall, too. And it's also kind of impressed at, how great Data's strength is, too, that he's able to, throw these Borg and kind of just, whip them around with, fairly easily, too. So, so after that, they leave Oniaka 3. Data's trying to figure out what's going on. He takes himself off of duty, right? And he tries to recreate that situation as well. So that's kind of an interesting scene too. And in the middle of that, he's trying to convince Geordi to help him turn off the safeties so that they can, make it feel real, and maybe he can feel that way again. So just, it's such an interesting episode because you have Data trying to recreate this negative experience. He does try to do other emotions before he gets to this, but it goes to show how far he wants to go to feel actual feelings, like how he did right there. So the Borg ship finally now approaches. They get into battle. They beam some people onto the ship, which is basically a diversion to get them away. Also a diversion to get a Borg onto the ship. He's knocked out. Picard revives him. And in talking to him, that's when they find out that they are not typical Borg. They're not part of the collective. They already kind of knew that from before when they were fighting, They were calling each other by name. They were showing anger. They were, basically rushing and fighting like Klingons almost, So that's... And basically this guy coming on board, his name is Croesus, I think. He is like a sleeper agent sent in. So he gets to Data through some kind of, I think, signal that he's able to send to him. And Data's ethical program gets shut down. And then this is where you also get kind of another little scene where you get to see exactly how Data gets him out and gets him to the shuttle bay. So that's something that's off screen in the episode, and you get to read about that here. They get to the shuttle bay, they escape, they disable the tractor beams, everything's looking terrible for the crew of the Enterprise, right? Data's betrayed him, and he's escaped through this spatial distortion, I think they call it. And now they have to go find him. So they have to figure out a way to open the distortion again. Of course, they're able to figure that out. They open up the distortion, go through, and then they track the shuttle to this planet. And this is kind of the part that I thought was, They do the typical thing. Uh, you know, you're a starship in orbit of a planet. You should be able to find what you're looking for. But of course, there's some sort of interference, right? So we can't do this the easy way. They have to beam down, and they beam down like everybody, and they leave the skeleton crew up on the Enterprise, right? So the skeleton crew is commanded by Dr. Crusher, which is why, honestly, Descent Part 2 is one of my favorite episodes, because she just kind of shows what she can do. You know, it's really, really interesting to see the Doctor in command, and also like these other set of officers on the bridge and working together to get past this Borg ship. So, but we'll get to that later. On the planet, search parties going everywhere looking for data. The only search party that does anything, of course, contains Captain Picard, Geordi, and Counselor Troy, who found this odd-looking building. Go inside and immediately are captured by the Borg. And this is actually the end of kind of part 1, where Lore comes out, you know, showing him to be in command of all the Borg, and then Data comes out too, saying that the Sons of Soong are together, and together they will destroy the Federation. And that's a dun 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 dun. That's the end of the 2-parter there. And then everybody back in the day had to wait like all summer long or whatever until we could watch and see what happened in the next season. Right? You don't know about that now. Well, now I guess it's different, but they don't really do cliffhangers anymore. It's just like they wrap it up, and then you just gotta wait another year and a half before your new season of TV's on. But I guess there are some good out. You know what? Strange New Worlds did a great cliffhanger. They did a great job of that. I should talk about that. Hats off to them for that. Anyway, I didn't really take any notes on this episode. We'll kind of wrap up the story with something I thought was a little bit fun too. So basically you have 2 stories going on now. On the planet, Data is now basically at Lore's bidding experimenting on Geordi, trying to replace his brain with like a synaptic brain or something like that. So just looking for something here too that's kind of interesting. But oh man, just to go to show how ingenious they all are. Well, first off, the Borg are not the very brightest people. They fall for the oldest trick in the book. Counselor Troy says, "Oh, come quickly, he's sick. Oh, he tried to touch the force field, he's hurt. If you don't come quick, Lore's going to be mad at you." So this guy comes in, and Picard jumps up and is able to rip off a piece of this Borg and kind of hide it. And then, of course, they don't proceed to get away or do anything, but they are able to take this piece of the Borg, and then when Data brings Geordi back from his experiments, they're able to... This is another great part. Just with like their hands in this tiny piece of the Borg, Geordi can't see. Picard has to describe to him what he's seeing in here, the little wires, all the little connections, and then from that, he has to tell Picard what to rewire so that this thing will send an inverse Cadian pulse that will reset Data's lower level functions, reset his ethical program, so that they can convince him that what he's doing is wrong. Right? And they do it. It works out just fine. They do that. They reset that. And as it comes down to the very ending... Oh, that's kind of cut. On the field, on the planet, Worf and Riker are also searching. They get found by some Borg, but nice Borg. These Borg are friends with Hugh Borg, and Hugh is also part of this group. Hugh has defected from Lore and explains the situation, that basically Lore found them, aimless, lost. They didn't know what to do. They had lost their connection to the collective. They didn't know what to do with their newfound individuality. So they went to Lore. Eventually, Hugh could see Lore was not doing the right thing for them, so he and some others, they branched off. So you got these 2 different versions of the Borg, right? So, oh man, they did Hugh really dirty in Picard Season 2. But you know what? I just thought in my head the other day, he doesn't have to be dead. He's part Borg. They could just take him, put him in a regeneration chamber, boom, he's gonna be back. So, I'm not even worried about that anymore. He could be totally alive. He's alive. I loved Hugh. He was great. So, Hugh at first doesn't want to help Commander Riker, is a little bit more worried when he hears that Geordi has been caught by Lore, and then is convinced finally when Riker gives a rousing speech and convinces them to take up arms against Lore and fight. So back to the planet. At this point, Lore wants to test Data, give him a test of loyalty. He brings Picard out, gives Data a phaser, commands him to shoot him. Data says, "No, I won't do it. I can't do it. It would be wrong." So at this point, a couple Borg grab Data. Lore gets ready to shoot Picard when Hugh, none other than Hugh, comes in, tackles him. Well, I think he just knocks the phaser out of his hand, and then the fight is on. You got Borg fighting against Borg. It's a really fun episode. It really is. Worf is there firing, and they're able to get Troy and Geordi to safety. And then they notice that Lore is gone. So Data follows Lore. He's got a phaser now too, and he finds him in the lab. Lore's trying to escape, tries to pull some, "I'm your brother, come with me" stuff. Doesn't go for it. Lore goes for a weapon. Data's a little bit faster. Takes him out with the phaser. Oh, here. Takes him out with the phaser. We can actually do it. Can we do it? No sound. Okay. Takes him out with the phaser. You saw it. And shuts him off. And says, "Lore, you have to be disassembled." Ooh. And then, in my mind, one of the best parts of the episode, up in space, they're dodging the Borg ship, all right? Dr. Crusher's been ordered to leave. She gets as many people off the planet as she can, but 47 are left behind. She leaves a little bit. The Borg ship falls off. She can go back through the tunnel, or she can defy orders and go back and get them. She defies orders, sends a probe off through the tunnel, heads back to the planet, warps into the opposite side of the planet so they can't see him, exactly. Gives them a couple more seconds. They beam up everybody they can. I think they get everybody but maybe the ones in the compound. And that is when they enact this incredible escape, orchestrated by none other than, I want to say, yes, Ensign Tate. You all remember her? Ensign Tate? That's not going to focus. Anyway, Ensign Tate was one of the skeleton crew brought aboard, and basically Beverly sends them into the sun, remembering the metaphasic shielding program, which was from another episode that she was the star of, right? They activate that. It works. They're able to survive in the sun for a little bit, but the Borg is just right out there waiting. Time is running out. Old Tate here comes up with a plan. She did a paper on metaphysics of the sun in Starfleet, in Starfleet Academy. So she thinks if we shoot a beam at this exact right point, it'll erupt and destroy the Borg ship. The other guy on the bridge, Branigan, I forget what his name is, he's like, "Well, if we don't get it exactly right, if her numbers aren't exactly right, then it could hit us." And then she's like, "Well, I better make sure my numbers are right." I'm like, "Yeah, go Tate," right? Tate was cool. So they do that, and they blow up the Borg ship, and the day is saved. They go back, they pick everybody up. The book adds a little bit more to the end, I think, because I really don't remember. There was a scene between the Crusher. I don't know. I'm going to watch the end here in a little bit, and then we'll see. But in closing, I wanted to say this in the beginning. The art for this book was just so good. So let's take an extra large look at it here before we're done, because I really think he did a great job. You got Hugh in the middle. Just love the way the planets look or whatever, and then the look on mean Data's face, right? Oh, that's terrible. So what a great cover that we've got there. I am pretty happy with that. So, and of course that is none other than the late great Keith Birdsong himself, who I would say must be the absolute most prolific and best Star Trek artist that ever did live. It seems like every time I see some fantastic cover art and I look up who it is, it's always going to be Keith Birdsong. So, what a fantastic addition to the Star Trek world he was, right? So that's all we're going to say tonight about Star Trek Descent. A great novelization. Go read it and have some fun with it. As always, everybody, live long and prosper. and we'll see you all in the next one. Good night.